Hello dear students. Today I'm going to discuss with you the poem I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, written by Maya Angelou. Now this poem deals with two kinds of birds. On one side there is a free bird who is flying high in the sky, and on the other side is a bird who is being caged. He has been put in the cage. Now the whole poem, throughout the poem, the literary device used by the poetess is juxtaposition. The meaning of the word juxtapose is when two things are being dealt side by side as a comparison or a contrast. Here there is a comparison between a free bird and a caged bird. Now, the free bird stands as a metaphor for the white Americans, and the caged bird, the one who has been put in the cage, is a metaphor for all the African Americans or the black people. And the poetess is herself a black lady. So she had suffered a lot till the age of 17, and we have read almost the same concept somewhere in the lesson Chief Settle. We know how the black Americans were being used by the white Americans, and similar concept we have also studied in the poem The Cold Within. Remember the black and the white. So the similar thought process is being discussed here by the poetess Maya Angelou. I know why the caged bird sings. Now look at the title of the poem. I know. I know word suggests the confidence of the poetess, that she really knows the reality. She knows why the caged bird is singing. Another literary device used in the poem is irony. Although being a free bird, the bird who is flying high in the sky, a free bird should be singing. But here, the free bird is not singing. The bird who has been put in the cage has been shown singing. And what is he singing about? He is singing about the days of freedom. He is desiring that one day he will be set free. That was how the caged bird has been correlated with the black people who were really put under great pressure, and they were misused by the white Americans. So let us start with the poem. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind. So the first stanza, that is a 6-stanza poem, and there is no particular rhyme scheme. The first stanza deals with the free bird. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind. Leaps is jumps. So the free bird is flying, jumping high till it can be carried away by the wind, and floats downstream till the current ends. And whenever he feels like, he can come down flying and comes at the point where the stream is flowing in the waters, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays. So dips his wings, he takes himself into the water and enjoys the water in the orange sun rays. So at what time? When the sun rays go orange. The sun rays turn orange during the sunrise as well as during the sunset, and dares to claim the sky. Dares means he is not at all afraid to claim the sky. That means wherever he wants to go. So this line, and dares to claim the sky, is an example of hyperbole. Nobody can claim the sky, but the free bird, he is free to go anywhere and enjoy in any possible manner he feels like. So this first stanza is a vivid example of visual imagery What is visual imagery? When we can form that scene in front of our eyes, we can see how a free bird must be jumping high and moving here and there. Now the words like leaps, floats, dips, tears, such words show authority and freedom which was being enjoyed by the white people. So the first stanza is full of liveliness, joy, happiness, cheerfulness, enjoyed by the people who are free. Now come to the second stanza. The second stanza explains the condition of the bird who has been caged. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage, stalks to walk stiffly, to walk lamely. He cannot even walk properly inside the cage. Why? We will just read it. Down his narrow cage. Why the cage? Because cage has a restricted space only. He has to move into that cage only. Can seldom see through his bars of rage. You know the bars? The cage has bars. So these bars of rage, here bars of rage is a metaphor which represents the imprisonment of so many innocent people. Remember, the blacks were treated as slaves. So they were in bars. Bars of rage. Rage stands for anger. Anger against the restrictions, the discrimination which they were facing. Who were facing? The black people. So this bird in the narrow cage is representing the black people. His feet are tied, his wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. Now what is the condition of the bird? Number one, he has been put in the cage. Number two, his wings are clipped, cut, so that he should not be able to fly, and his feet are tied. He has been locked inside the cage. Since he can hardly see. Look at the line. The narrow cage can seldom see through. Seldom see. SS, example of alliteration, sound, sir. Through, and he could hardly see he could hardly even see the sky because there's a restricted space and restricted movement. And when he is unable to do anything else, he opens his throat to sing. Thankfully, his mouth has not been tied. He can sing openly, at least inside that cage. So this second stanza shows the condition of the black people under the white people. And the second stanza shows sadness, depression, loneliness, dejection, and struggle. Come to the third stanza. The caged bird sings. So the last line of the second stanza is correlated with the third stanza. So the third stanza stands for the caged bird. The caged bird sings with fearful trill. Fearful, frightened. Trill is a shrill sound because of the nervousness which the caged bird is facing. He is not able to express himself. He is not able to come out, and he is locked inside the cage. The caged bird sings with fearful trill of things unknown. Now, what does he sing about? He sings about the unknown things. That is the desire for freedom. And what exactly is freedom? He does not know, because he has never seen it, never experienced it. He has been locked, but longed for still. But he has desires to at least one day he will be set out free. And his tune is heard on the distant hill, distant, far away. Now whatever he is singing, that can be heard somewhere far away, because the people surrounding that cage, they are all white people. They do not listen to him. But he is very much positive, he is very much optimistic that someday some people far off would at least listen to his cries for freedom. And this tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. And this song of freedom is also the voice of the poetess Maya Angelou. because she has also suffered as being a black lady. Now, this stanza is an example of auditory imagery, where we can really perceive and we can listen that what kind of song could be sung by the bird who has been locked inside the cage. And of course, I had discussed in the earlier, this stanza is also an example of irony, because the free bird that he is not singing, instead the bird who is inside the cage, he is singing, and he is singing a song for freedom. Turn the page. Next stanza. Now, next stanza is again regarding the free bird. The free bird has again returned. The free bird thinks of another breeze. Another breeze, some other area. He has flown in one area. Now he is free. Now he wants to go to some other area to fly and touch the sky. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade wind soft through the sighing trees. Sighing trees. Now, trees are sighing. Sigh is an expression, a sad expression. So here the word tree has been personified as sighing. Now, why are the trees sighing? The trees are sighing because tree represents nature, and nature is same for everyone. So the tree is sighing that why only the free bird is enjoying my cool breeze. Why is not the caged bird being let out, so that even the caged bird could also enjoy the freedom and the natural resources which are open for all. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade wind soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn bright lawn. Now, when the bird is flying high, he can watch there are a lot of fat worms, kide makode, on the ground, which are the food for that bird. Waiting on a dawn bright lawn. Dawn, early morning. Bright lawn. Why bright? Because the rays of the sun are falling on it. And he names the sky his own. So naming the sky is the hyperbole. And the another breeze and another worms. Worms is abundance of food. So these words, breeze and worms, are metaphors, and they stand for hope, opportunities, resources, wealth, which is available only to the white people and not to the black people. The white people are thoroughly enjoying, seeking all the opportunities, making use of all the resources, and giving nothing to the black people. They are just using them. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. So next stanza again goes for the caged bird, the black people. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. You know what is a grave? Grave is the end. The dead body is buried, and that is a grave. So why it is a grave of his dreams? Because he knows that his dreams are not going to be fulfilled. He is going to remain inside the cage throughout, and all his dreams are going to be buried under his own feet. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. Shadow shouts. SS, example of alliteration. And here the word shadow has been personified as the one who is shouting. You know what is personification? When non-living objects are used as living beings. So here shadow has been used as a creature who is shouting on a nightmare scream. What is a nightmare? A bad dream. So when one sees a bad dream, what happens? You just scream loud. So he is also screaming loudly. Why? Because he knows that his dreams are not going to be fulfilled. Why? Because his wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. So again the repetition of these two lines, just to show the position of those caged people Why are they caged? Because they are under the mercy of the white people. They are treated as the white people want them to be. Now the last stanza is again the repetition of the third stanza. It's the same. The caged bird sings with fearful trill of things unknown, but long for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. This, the whole stanza is again repeated just to lay emphasis on the tragic situation of the caged bird. So whenever a thing is repeated, or a line is repeated, or a stanza is repeated, what does it denote? Repetition is also a poetic device. So whenever a thing is repeated, the answer for that question is that repetition has been done in order to lay stress, in order to emphasize on the fact that the caged bird is leading a miserable life. The black people are leading a miserable life. Look at the last line of the poem. For the caged bird sings of freedom. So the last word of the poem is freedom. It is a very powerful word. The poetess has ended this poem with a very powerful positive word, freedom, which represents the dreams and aspirations of all the people who need positivity. The feeling of positivity, the feeling of hope continues. At least the caged bird feels that someday it will be able to fly when, if God wants, his cage would be opened. So I hope you understood the poem. Go through the poem, go through the workbook, and this poem can be related to the present day situation when you people, and of course I also, we are under lockdown. We know what freedom is. Our freedom is also restricted these days. We have been asked to stay back home, and it is very difficult. But still, we are enjoying all the resources inside our homes. Imagine those people who have been given nothing at all. They cannot eat their food of their choice. They cannot enjoy. They cannot move anywhere, even inside their homes. And the life they would be leading is really very desperate. So I hope you understood the poem. Go through the word meanings, write all the literary devices, and if you have any doubt, you can obviously contact me. Goodbye.